Production person just did a conversion and he uploads ASCIIs and exhibits, and then billing person gets notified. Starting with the step number 2, that's where billing person will come in. Anytime you see prefill button, use that button first. So I'm going to go ahead and prefill here. Remember that Russian doll, the 3 dolls inside? You can prefill from case. Now this case is not huge managed case. Nobody entered any parties in here. From job, only attorney I see is the noticing attorney, which will be usually the case, unless you have the notice and then a calendar person enter the parties here. And the previous turn-in will be blank because this is the very first deposition we are billing on this case. This will be typically the case when you are billing the first job on a case. All you're going to see is the noticing attorney. Daniel Berg, you click on it and save and close. That'll generate one invoice. Let me go ahead and fix that because he is actually the original ON1 client. I look at the reporter's billing sheet and I see 3 more attorneys. So it looks like this is going to be a ON4. So let's do that quickly. I exhausted my prefill option, so now I have to go to add a new one. We look up a contact. First name is Stephen Pettit, so I'm just going to type any part of the name. We have that attorney already in the system, so I'm just going to select that. I don't see any insurance information for Stephen Pettit, so I'm going to assume that bill to is the same as the sold to, and he's ordering the Young List transcript. Everything else is okay. Save and close. I go to new again, look up contact. This time Timothy Rice. Another lucky day. If it's an out-of-town attorney, you have to do new here. But to save time, I'm just selecting the one we have here. Again, same as sold to, no difference. And the last attorney is David Stratford, and he's also same as a bill to sold to. That gives me 4 invoices, and in step number 3, it automatically generates the 4 orders. They look the same because I only have a 1 witness. Next job I turn in, you will see that I'll have a 2 witnesses. So it'll be a little different. Only part left for me to do is part 4, and this is where we're supposed to enter all the service items. Now, what are we billing these guys? In step number 3, I see another button with a prefill. This time it's called Prefilled Services. That's where billing set come in. Let's start with the ON1 client. So I highlight Daniel Berg, I prefill, and then my billing set comes up. This is my McDonald's menu system. These are the ones that I set up. My default comes up as an ON1 standard full day. These are typical items that we usually bill on that particular case. Except on this job, there are no exhibits. So I'm going to uncheck that box. I also notice at the bottom here, something coming up. It's called Preferred Services. Where is it coming from? It's coming from your attorney's setup. When you set up Daniel Berg, he told you that he's a summation user. He always liked to have an amicus format of the ASCII disk. And I used to have this in a yellow sticky note on my wall. Now RB8 contains the information in the profile of the contact under the tab called Preferred Services. So every time I go to billing or production, it shows me that. Save and close. So with that, it pulled all that in there. I move down to the copy attorney, first guy, Stephen Pettit, Prefilled Services. Now he doesn't like a Big Mac, he likes a fish sandwich. So I need to change the menu to copy. These are the typical copy items again, no exhibits on here. Since I'm including ASCII disk, I don't have to select it again, so I just can save and close. Even though this is fast, I don't want to keep doing this for the rest of the guys because at this point I only have 2 more attorneys, but it could be 20 more attorneys. It could be 95 more attorneys. There has to be a better way for me to do rest of the copy orders, and there is. It's called copy services. What you do is you finish off the first copy guy, which I did. I have 4 items listed on the quadrant number 4 here. I like to copy what I just did to the rest of the attorneys. Click on the Copy Services button, select all of them except Daniel Berg because he's an ON1 attorney. So that should give you exactly same items, all the rest of them. Now, what if they are slightly different? Like David Stratford was waiting at the hotel and he said, I want that transcript right now before I leave for the airport. Normally we do postage, but at that time we had to do courier service. No big deal. It's still faster for me to copy it and then do minor adjustments. I don't need a postage, so I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to add an item under my delivery subgroup called courier. And that's it. Then save and add. The last thing for me to do is to specify the billing rate table and calculate the invoice. It is very important because if you look at quadrant number 3 here, you notice that there are 4 attorneys, but they have a different billing rate group. This guy, Daniel Berg, is preferred. That means that's your good client and they give you a lot of depots and a lot of jobs. So you decided to give them a special price, which I call preferred rates. On the other hand, these 3 attorneys, most of them are out-of-town attorneys, they don't get any special deal. I just charge them my default rate, which I call a standard. You are able to assign a different rate table to different attorneys. That can be very flexible, but at the same time, it can be very time-consuming if I have to go into every single order and specify the rate table. This one I have to, because this one is different from the rest of it. So let's go into this preferred client, double-click into it. Next to the billing rate, I'm going to look up all my rates under preferred group. I have 5 rates. Today it's going to be depot regular, not technical medical or videotaped or telephone. I'm going to select that rate. That's it, save. So I took care of him. But the rest of the attorneys, since they're all on the same group, there has to be a better way. Better way is called set rates. You go into set rates and you go show me the standard rates, and I'm going to use the depot regular rate. Select that. Apply to all the copy orders except ON1, and you go save. So that assigns the same rate table to all the copy orders at once. Now, even though it says depot regular, I named it exactly same. Remember, inside the prices are different. The depot regular of the standard is different from the depot regular of preferred group. Name these billing rate groups and billing rate tables that make sense to you. With that, I'm done. I calculate invoices for all 4 of them. Before I print out these invoices, I can check right here. Your screen might not look like this. I rearrange the columns so that my total bill column is right next to total pay. Because when I calculate invoices, I want to see not only the amount I'm billing to each client, but I also want to see at the same time amount I'm paying to the co-reporter side by side. So I can go check quickly. So this one is a 365 versus 218.75, which makes sense. So I can quickly check by going through these orders, what's missing, what's wrong, whatever.